we are going to absolutely master a super important topic for your NEET chemistry paper, the D block elements. Seriously, getting a good grip on this will give you a real edge on exam day. Alright, no time to waste. Let's dive right in and make sure you're ready for any question on this topic they can possibly throw at you. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the basics, then get into their cool characteristics and where you see them every day. We'll even tackle the science behind their colors before wrapping up with a quick summary for your exam. Sound good? Let's start at the beginning. Okay, first things first, we need a solid foundation. So what is a D block element really? What makes it part of this very specific, very important group on the periodic table? It all comes down to their electron configuration. It's right there in the name. They're called D block elements for one simple reason. Their very last electron, the differentiating electron, slots right into the D orbital. That's it. That's the fundamental definition you have to know. And here's a key number to lock away in your brain for the exam. There are exactly 40 elements in the D block. It's one of those simple facts that can easily show up as a multiple choice question, so don't forget it. Okay, so now that we know what they are, let's talk about what makes them so special. Think of this next part as your blueprint for success on any questions about how these elements behave. So these guys share a bunch of classic metallic traits. They have really high melting points because their metallic bonds are super strong. They're amazing at conducting heat and electricity, which you probably knew. They're also malleable and ductile. That's just a fancy way of saying you can hammer them into sheets or pull them into wires. And see that last point about forming colored compounds? Oh, we are definitely going to circle back to that one because it's fascinating. Now, I really like this slide because it helps organize things in your head. On one side, you've got their physical properties, how they act as materials. But on the other side, you've got their chemical properties. And this is where it gets really interesting. Their ability to show multiple oxidation states and to form these complex ions is what makes them so incredibly versatile. It's the whole reason they're such fantastic catalysts, and it's why they play huge roles in biology. I mean, think about the iron in your hemoglobin. That's a D block element at work. So you might be thinking, okay, that's great for my exam, but why does this matter in the real world? Well, let's take a look. You'll see that understanding where they're used can actually help you remember their properties. I mean, just look at this table. It shows you just how important they are. The incredible strength of iron, Fe, makes it the backbone of all our steel. The amazing conductivity of copper, Cu, is why we have electricity in our homes. We use shiny silver, Ag, for jewelry, and platinum, Pt, is a workhorse catalyst in all sorts of chemical industries. They are literally everywhere, doing the heavy lifting for our modern world. Alright, now for one of the coolest, most fascinating topics and one that gets asked about a lot. Why are so many of their compounds so beautifully and brightly colored? This is a classic NEET question, so let's break it down. I want you to really think about this for a second. The answer isn't just, well, they just are. There's a very specific reason happening with their electrons. If you can understand the why behind it, you'll never forget the concept. The whole secret is in this simple three-step process. First, you absolutely need to have unpaired electrons in those d orbitals. When light hits the compound, these little electrons get excited and absorb energy of a specific color to jump up to a higher energy level. So what happens to all the other colors in the light that weren't absorbed? They get reflected back. And that's the color our eyes see. So if a compound soaks up orange light, it's going to look blue to us. It's as simple as that. Okay, let's bring it all home. We're going to summarize the absolute must-know points for your exam. If you're taking notes, this is the time to grab your highlighter. This is the stuff you need to remember. So let's do a quick check. These are the kinds of questions you should be able to solve. Can you define them based on their electron configuration? Can you list off their main metallic properties? Can you explain why they have variable oxidation states and form colored compounds? And can you give a couple of key real-world examples? If you can confidently say yes to all of these, you are in fantastic shape for the exam.
Look, learning all this theory is a huge first step, and you've done a great job.
But the absolute best way to make sure this knowledge is locked in and ready for your exam is to practice, practice, practice. And to do that, I really recommend you download the EduRev app. You can get it from the Play Store and the iOS App Store. It is packed with thousands of practice questions, super detailed notes, and full mock tests made just for the NEET syllabus. It is the best way to take what we learned today and make sure you can use it to ace your exam. Keep up the amazing work, and I'll see you in the next lesson.